All right, guys, welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Gear. I'm Scott McNally, and of course, with me, as always, is S2H and Skip Hill. This program is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. You could use our code ADVICES to let them know that you support what we're doing. Plus, you'll get a little bit of a discount. I believe if you order bulk, you get 10% off with that order. Skip,
Wait. You got 10%?
If you order bulk.
For real?
If you order bulk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I was thinking, damn, I need to speak with Dante.
Well, I wanted to go to you first, Skip, because Skip is going to junior nationals this week. He's also been up for like 30 something hours. So
yeah, I don't really care.
I figured you might not. Skip, what's going on, man? Because we've all been texting all morning and all day, but I didn't know why you've been up so long.
Yeah, I've had plenty of time on my hands because, I didn't sleep. What it is I keep those weird hours. So I say weird. They're not weird to me. They're weird to everybody else. And I got to go to Junior Nationals. I leave on Thursday, and I'm going to be gone not only through the weekend, but I'm going to spend a couple days up in Milwaukee because my wife is going with me. She doesn't go anywhere with me ever when it comes to shows and stuff like that. So we're going to hang out in Chicago through Sunday, and then we're going to go up and see my daughter who's in nursing school in Milwaukee until Tuesday, and get to spend Father's Day with her, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And I got to get on a regular schedule. I usually go to bed at 6 or 7 in the morning and sleep until 2 or 3. And that doesn't work when people come into town or I go out of town. So I slept until like 5 yesterday. I thought, I'm just going to stay up. I don't train today. I'm going to load kind of.
Yeah.
And I stayed up, and that's it. I'm a zombie. I'm actually wired. And I don't know if you know this feeling, but you're not just wired and everything's kind of fat. You feel like you got to keep moving and everything, but I feel like I'm low blood pressure, and especially when I have some caffeine, I get real jittery. I did like 3 Adderall and 4 modafinil, so I thought that would have. Then I
backfired, huh?
I did an anal shot of Monster and zero carb, and I didn't. It's not really an anal shot. I just shoved I opened the can. I shoved the entire can up my ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
I stood on my head. And I shook it real hard, and it's carbonated, so that didn't go very well. But no, I'm talking very fast. It's going to be very fucked up, is what it's going to be.
So Andrew's last name, he said that I got it right. It's pronounced like the 2 words cell key. So
okay.
Cell key. So we were close.
With a long.
Yeah. I got to ask you, Skip, what was that flavor of the Monster you were drinking? You found a new flavor. I haven't seen those. Is it green or something?
Yeah. Okay. The green one was, and I got to tell you that I can already tell I'm talking like I'm on fucking speed, and I apologize because I don't usually do that.
That's all right.
Okay. Green was, I think it's green apple. Other people were saying it's green. Blah, blah, you see where I'm going?
Keep bringing attention. You always bring attention when there's any kind of mistake or you want us to cut something. Say at least several times,
to draw even more attention.
People don't care. We know you're tired. This is good. We got the real Skip. This is what we want. We want the coach who has been slaving away. He's getting ready to fly out to Chicago. Right. He's exhausted. Yeah, he's still committed. He's still doing his podcast. That's the Skip we want. And tell us about energy drinks.
It's sour. I think it's sour apple or Granny apple or something like that. Somebody else said it was Jolly Rancher green. Huh. I don't think it says on it what it is. I don't
just says green.
Think any of the flavors are on the can. I think it's just a color, and you kind of, I don't know, decide what it is for yourself.
I'm kidding. I had not seen that. Scott, are you a Monster drinker? I feel like you drink Monsters.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I just take Adderall and that's it.
Yeah,
and water.
By the way, I found the place I had gotten that modafinil before. I thought about picking some up, but I think I'm gonna stay away because you know what I'm afraid of with that stuff is you take it once and you have such a good experience, and then I'll just take it again the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and it's just gonna be like now I need to buy modafinil for my monthly supply type thing. So. I'm not gonna.
Well,
do
that's
that.
my wife.
Yeah.
My wife does that actually. Yeah, it's only been 5 months.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, you can take it every day.
Okay. Is there?
She wasn't told not to. I mean, she's got a script for it.
Okay. Isn't there a chance of dependency though?
I don't know.
Okay.
Who cares? She's getting leaner. Who the fuck cares? No, there may be, but I mean, like I say, the script said she's supposed to take 200 milligrams because they're in 200 milligram tabs. But the 100 milligrams, she said that she functions great, and she already is up till fucking 2 in the morning and gets up at 7 or 8 every morning. So I can't imagine. You know, she's worried about. She keeps saying for like the last month, "I'm gonna try 200. I'm gonna try it tomorrow."
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it tomorrow. And it's been like a month. So I'm like, don't worry about it. She's down like 30 pounds. Bitch is looking fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's looking good.
Nice.
She's kicking ass, though, for real. I mean, it's cool. So she's got a few, she's got more to go, but it's cool. She's kicking ass, so.
It's badass.
Yeah, she changed her Tinder pictures already. Looking pretty good now.
Well played. Well played.
So I wanted to mention to you guys, I got my lab work redone. It was maybe 8 weeks ago. My HDL has always been stuck at about 25 for about the last decade. All my other rest of my cholesterol looks fine. I used Cardarine for about, it was between 6 to 8 weeks, and I brought it up 10 points basically in that period of time. I got more consistent with my fish oil. Outside of that, I haven't changed anything. I really have to think it was the Cardarine. It's been known, I guess, to push that up, but I don't know. I mean, here's my fear. I once talked to Shelby about the topic of trying to raise your HDL, and from what he was saying, and now from what I understand, that it doesn't change mortality rates in any way to affect, just by improving that number alone doesn't mean that now you're going to live longer. Have you heard anything about that?
Cricket. I'm like, don't talk, Ken. Don't talk. Okay.
Who's Ken?
I would say.
I know. Who the fuck is Ken?
I would say, just off the top of my head, which is this top of my head, he's probably right because it's just one number.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And define the mortality rate. I mean, you're talking about something that's directly affected by that blood level number. I mean, there's a lot of things to it.
Well,
I've been hearing the same thing for the last few years, and that even it's just basically total cholesterol, and that there isn't as much emphasis on the HDL anymore. But as with anything, there's not just two sides. There seem to be three, and it just depends on where you sit. I don't think that fish oil had any. I know on paper it sounds great and everything else, and I'd ask Scott the same thing. Fish oil, it's supposed to work, and on paper it does. Yeah. And I've never seen a difference with anybody, myself or any clients, putting in fish oil. Maybe it's the grade, and when it comes to over the counter supplements, good luck trying to find something that's legit. I mean, we always bitch about the FDA wanting. We don't want the FDA in any of the supplements, but yet at the same time, they usually make sure shit isn't fucked up.
Right.
So there's that, that you're not getting scammed.
Yeah, that's a good point. Scott?
I think you're going to live.
No. What do you think? What do you think about what Skip is saying?
I don't really know what he just said. It was it went that way and it came back this way, and his face looked kind of drug in, and he's kind of like, no. I think that
you want acid right now.
It's not a monitor. I mean, all that stuff is not really. I mean, come on. Anybody that knows how that system works, they don't keep a very good track on things. So you could get legitimate stuff. I don't know what. I mean, you'll read. You can read this fish oil is better than the other, and that one. Do
you think fish oil will benefit? Have you seen fish oil benefit your cholesterol or anybody else's?
Makes me go to the bathroom better.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you know what you're talking about? Micro fixes to a macro problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So could you get enough micro fixes to help the macro problem? I would say microly. So is that the word, microly?
It is.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, if you got 100 percent, you want 100% fix, you could probably over the counter supplement a 10 or 12% fix to it.
Gotcha.
I think, and then, because it doesn't make up for genetic disposition, hereditary stuff, that runs in your family. There's a lot of outside factors that could affect, problems. But if you're looking at one marker, is one marker really controlling everything? And then you always read over the years, you read all these conflicting. Well, you got to talk about HDL, LDL, total. Different parts of the lipid profile are more important than the others, and it's kind of like there's not a real defined reason for a lot of things. Yeah.
Well,
I think genetic disposition is the biggest one.
You don't know what else it affects too. I mean, Novadex is a good example. You take Novadex and it's supposed to help with HDL too, and at the same time, you got to wonder when you're taking if it's fucking with the growth hormone that you're taking because it's messing with IGF. There's just questions. If it helps a little bit here, what does it do on the back end? One of the things I did, and I almost hesitate to say this because I don't want anybody to take it as, oh, well, Skip does this, I'm going to try this, and then everybody's not using any, OTC supplements. I've had an extensive micronutrient, kind of a pedantic approach to my micronutrient supplementation. And, it's 2 baskets worth of shit, and it sat on my counter for the last 5 years, and I ripped through it, and $300 at Walgreens or whatever else every few months, and I felt pretty good about it on paper. And then one day I just chucked them in the fucking trash, and I haven't used any OTC supplements for about 1.5 years.
Okay, and
I don't know that I miss them. I mean, who knows? There may be going on and I'm causing problems. I don't know. But from, CoQ10 to, and like I said, on paper, all this stuff sounds great. And I just chucked them.
What are you getting now I know you're cruising right now. When are you getting your lab done next and hopping back on the gains train?
Well, I'm supposed to get them done this week coming up because I'm in town until Thursday. And I'm hoping to be able to get done. If not, it'll have to be the week that I come back. The reason I want to get it done before I go is, when I'm out of town, I'm not packing Tupperware, and I'm going to go up and spend time with my daughter for Father's Day. So I'm kind of going to take just a break and clear my head and know that I'm coming back for 24 weeks with my foot on the pedal. So I want to get it done before I go. But the funny thing is sometimes your blood work is better when you eat like a regular person.
Yeah.
And you're not fully hydrated. Well, I won't get into this long story, but I was denied flat out for life insurance back in about 10 years ago. And it was shortly after show. I wanted to do it because my BMI was so low. And they said, I asked them, I said, I'm on all these OTC supplements, should I wait a few weeks and, not take them? Which really what I was saying was I'm on a ton of fucking gear.
You're like, I'm on OTC supplements, AKA Halo, Tren, Masteron.
I'm like, well, I could tell them I'm on OTC, or I could tell them I'm loaded to the gills, and they're probably going to say, oh, no, we can't do that. And, obviously life insurance is kind of important when you have kids and a wife and everything else. So they said, no problem, just leave a list, write down a list of everything you're taking. And I'm like, okay, so I wrote it down and I wrote all this shit down and came back, and they didn't even just give me a higher premium, like on a different tier. They just flat out denied me. I had to beg them, and I mean plead with them to redo the tests in a little over a week. I'm like, just let me do the bloods. I'll just stop taking my OTC supplements, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I did, and I just ate like crap. I didn't train. I didn't do anything because I didn't want elevated creatinine. I wanted nothing because they weren't listening to any explanations. Blood came back perfect. I have a tier 2, which is just below the best you can get. Life insurance policy for a large chunk of money, to the point where after the first 2 years, all I had to do was wait 2 years and not kill myself by suicide.
Yeah.
And I could pick up my gun right now, put it to the side of my head, and it would pay out.
That would lead to some good ratings.
It might.
For the episode. So
yeah, what do they call that? Snuff film? Like that?
The blood, sweat, and gear snuff film. This is the last episode.
Last episode for Skip.
Yeah. And then Scott and I will keep going on.
You guys, that sucks. That's shitty thing to say. And Scott and I will keep going on. What?
We would. Matter of fact, our shows together are higher rated than. Feel free.
It is horrible. If I had feelings at all, that would have hurt.
Scott,
And
you're like
you have sunglasses on. The more I think about
nothing more than feelings.
Scott, you're like off to the side.
I'm leaning back in my chair.
Yeah,
with sunglasses on, you change your fucking cowboy hat.
There you go.
And everybody can see you anyway.
He's got the glasses on. I can see that now.
Let's explain again why my screen looks like this. Is because the first time we did this, it just came on like this, and Is that the truth? You ask McNally, because we and I did it. You weren't even on when it came on. I was like,
asking McNally. I wasn't asking you. Yeah, I'm not gonna get the truth out of you.
So here's the deal. I think personally that S2H did not want to do video, but he was willing to. And then once he realized that nobody could see what he looked like because he didn't have any lights on, then he was like, "Oh, then I'm going to keep doing that." I think that's
because I don't think the blinds have been closed for like 2 months. I don't think so.
Right, for 2 weeks at least now since the last episode.
Well, your blinds are closed.
My blinds are closed, but I got lights.
It's because you've been up for fucking 2 days.
Well, that's true.
So when you said you're not leaving till Thursday, Skip, for junior nationals?
Not until Thursday night. Yeah, my wife has to still. She got one of those real jobs where she actually has to do something, so she's got to be there through Thursday.
Doesn't that suck, man? Real jobs.
Well, it only sucks for her because I have to hear it all the time.
But it sucks for you too if you want to do something with her, because you could basically. With your job, you could work from anywhere, couldn't you? Really?
Yeah, I go to the beach all the time, and I'll like text her. I'll send her messages and stuff. Be like, "Oh, wish you were here." LOL. You know.
But I mean, though, like you could work from anywhere. You could go to Wisconsin for the next month if you wanted to. I don't think your daughter would want you to stay at school with her, but you could do that.
Yeah, I could pretty much go anywhere. Yeah. She's up for a big fat promotion too. I'm going to give her a shout. She's up for a huge promotion after this big renovation they got done. So
nice.
She got big things coming down the pike here in the next year. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm looking at our thread. We have a bunch of people commenting. I definitely, guys, if you have any questions, why don't you go ahead and post them up? What do you guys say we take a quick break, come back, and knock out our questions?
Sounds good.
Huh? All right, we'll be back in just a second, guys.
Oh, wow.
And in actuality, we're really not going anywhere. That's just for the radio break.
Are we off Facebook?
No.
Yeah, we're still live, Scott.
Why did you want to? Were you about to tell us some really gossipy, juicy news? Because if
I
so,
scratch my balls.
Oh,
it's okay. You see how I move my chair that way so I can lean back this way? I'm still in the middle.
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, you're on top of it, big time.
We got
you look tired.
I'm exhausted, man. That's why I'm just, like this.
You've been taking the extra 100 milligrams of Modnafilin that your wife has been taking?
No, I honestly haven't used it. I have never used it. I don't even know what it's like. I haven't used the Adderall either. I think you asked me about that earlier, Scott.
Well, so I knew she had 100 a day she wasn't taking.
Well, that is true. Yeah, they last twice as long that way, though.
Absolutely. So. No, I asked you that because I thought it was S2H that said that in our thread.
They are. Yeah, it is.
He did. I think he used it.
Yeah, no,
you used it.
You said you. Never mind. I was talking about our text thread when I asked you about taking Adderall, and you were like, "I never took it." I thought that was Scott that said he'd been up for 36 hours or whatever. But all right, I got the questions. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's talk some bodybuilding here.
All right,
bodybuilding.
All right, guys, welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Gear with Skip Hill and S2H. The show, once again, brought to you by True Nutrition. I'm Scott McNally, and we are over in the thread. You can go to forum.advicesradio.com, and we are looking at those questions first, and boom, we also started getting, thank you, Eduardo has a question for us. Eduardo, we are going to nail your question after we get through the board questions, so stick around, or if you can't stick around, of course, this show is going to be available on YouTube as of Thursday, and the audio version will be over at iTunes and advicesradio.com, as well as all your favorite podcast apps, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, everything else. Start us out. We've got one about Clen. This is from Marvel3203. I'd like to hear about Skip's a 3-week Clen cycle? Does he have his clients do 3 weeks on and 2 weeks off, or 3 weeks on and 3 weeks off? Was thinking about trying it during my next cutting cycle. Would this be a good setup to start with with 1 week at 40 micrograms daily, and then week 2, 60 daily, and week 3, 80 daily? Or do the increases from week to week need to be higher?
How big is you? Are you 250 pounds or are you $105? We'll start with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dosing is, I mean, if you start, putting bigger doses into smaller people, it doesn't go over very well typically.
Okay.
The other thing is do you have tabs or do you have liquid? Because 40 micrograms, usually what I'll do is this. I typically like to go with and this is just usually, it's not everybody, but a 200-pound person on a 3-week cycle, because I usually am 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off. The reason I went to 3 was because I found that the third week, though not terribly effective because it's the third week, and I believe Clen is most effective even on the lower dose for the first week, and it drops significantly after that. That's why I tend to go up quicker. 50 to 100 is a big jump because obviously you're doubling it. Then from 100 to 150. Some people have said, well, if you're going with that dosage, why don't you go 50, 100, and then 200? I can't argue against it. I just don't like Clen at that high of a dose. Yeah. And I think that it just seems to work so well. I mean, the reason that I've come to these things after so many years is just because it's worked better than, the 100 different ways that I've tried it, with myself and with clients before. So that third week tends to help. What happens is if you run 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, number one, you have to take your dosages up a little higher, a little quicker, to try to cover your dosing patterns for that 2 weeks. But you also tend to have a bigger rebound. The third week, like I said, isn't as effective for body fat loss. It's actually kind of minimal, but it does help to not have such a huge or as big of a rebound that first week you come off. I tell people all the time, I think this is important, you have to know that the week that you come off Clen, if you don't change your diet, you don't change your cardio, the scale is going to tell you that you've gained weight because there's a water rebound there. So what I tell people, and you have to understand that the large majority of people that I am training and are using Clen are also skip loading weekly. So what I tell them is if you get back just close to baseline that next week, you don't have to be below it, but you just get back close to baseline, that's pretty good for your first week off Clen. And then of course nothing changing into the second week off of Clen, and then all of a sudden you drop scale weight from that week because the water issue then is gone, the rebound is gone. So there's a lot to factor in with Clen, which is part of the reason that you want to, and I'm not trying to sound like a salesman, but it's part of the reason that giving these answers is not like working with somebody either, because there's a lot of other factors involved. But typically it is a 3 on, 2 off. Typically it's a 50, 100, 150 microgram type thing. And just as a little added bonus, bonus tip, if you want to call it that, don't take your Clen right before cardio, for fuck's sake.
It gets your heart rate up too fast, or what?
Yeah, I mean, number one, it's a real easy way to go tachycardia, which is always not very good thing. But the other thing is if you have a target heart rate that you're trying to hit, you're going to find it pretty easy. You're going to sit there at a half the pace that you normally would do cardio, and you're doing cardio anyway. Just take it. If you train, that's what I tell people. If you train in the morning, you do cardio in the morning, especially if it's shortly after bed or you have one meal. Don't take your Clen until you're done anyway. People get concerned about, well, maybe I won't be able to sleep or something. It's not like ephedrine. Yeah. You put ephedrine in you. I remember the days of ephedrine, man. If I took anything after like 2 in the afternoon, I was not fucking sleeping until 2 a.m.
Did we talk about mini thins? Was that us the last episode?
Mini thin.
I don't know. I go back farther than that. I go back to Twin Lab.
I remember. Yeah. What did they make? I remember Twin Lab having something.
Fuel.
Yeah,
Rip Fuel. Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was the shit too, man. We would buy it when I was, I was a fucking teenager, man. That's
Yeah.
back when you could buy everything. You go into GNC, take the cap off, take a swig of GHB. No, just kidding.
We talked
But you
about that
could.
last week too.
You
yeah.
could have, yeah, exactly.
What about
So
Ultimate Orange? Remember that one?
I do, but I never. For some reason, I didn't do. I was pretty limited with money, though, man.
Okay.
Until I got my own job, and my parents are awesome and everything, and I had everything I needed for sports and everything in life that I needed. But I didn't. They didn't want to give me a bunch of extra money to get huge. I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck the problem was.
I worked at my dad's shop when I was a kid, so like I didn't make much money, but in the summertime I'd make enough money that I could buy some Ripped Fuel, some Ultimate Orange. I remember really not getting the Ultimate Orange concept because it's a drink. You use a scoop of it, mix it in, it's like an orange drink, and I thought of it as being like this instant energy. So I'd like drink some of it, and then I'd start working out, and then I'd come over and like take a drink between sets, and then like hammer out some more curls, and then take another sip. I didn't have the concept down right, but yeah, you're saying though it doesn't keep you up, so you're better off, you think, to take this if you're doing AM cardio after the cardio's over. That way you're gonna bust ass on cardio without having that addition of pushing your heart rate up real quick with the Clen, and then take your Clen say post cardio.
Right. Because you're already going to feel that Clen even if you train at night or do cardio. I mean, it's it's pretty pronounced. And I'm not saying don't take Clen before you go to bed and then go, well, I didn't sleep, you fucker. Skip said it was no problem. Well, your heart is still going to be jumping out of your chest, for fuck's sake.
Dude, I know people. Have you heard of people? Scott, have you heard of people who take their Clen before bed? You?
No shit.
Well, I have before by accident.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Then
you listen to your heartbeat.
And my Rip Fuel. And my Nathan. and everything else.
I know someone. Yeah. I can't. You guys know him too. I don't want to disclose his name.
DJ.
No.
Text it to me. I won't say anything. I promise.
Okay.
Really about 40.
But that's what he did for all his shows. Is he would take his Clen before bed, and then all the side effects that he got from it would go away, and then he'd wake up the next day and just go about his business.
Yeah,
and then you got people that can sleep on it too. Yeah, you're sleeping good till your feet cramp up.
Or the side of your head, the muscles in your jaws and the back of your neck. Mm-hmm. I always thought that's fine. I'm like, I go the whole day standing up, there's no problem. I lie down for a minute and a half, and the back of my neck and the muscle, the jaw muscle on the side of my head wanted to cramp.
No kidding. Jesus.
Oh, man. You know why? I'll tell you why. Here's why. And I'm laughing at my fucking energy here, but this is true. What has happened is since liquid ancillaries have, pretty much dominated the market. If you're selling Clen and you're competing with other liquid Clen people, you're going to make sure that yours is stronger than everybody else's because why? Because the people who are buying it, if they feel it and they go, oh my God, this stuff is just brutal, man. I'm shaking like a leaf. They're telling all their friends and they're recommending it, and you're going to buy the one that's stronger. I'm telling you, most Clen is overdosed.
Dude, if I'm getting shaky hands from one brand and then I'm not getting shaky hands from the same dose on another brand, my thought is not going to initially be, oh, that first one was overdosed. My first thought is going to be, oh, the new one is fake. Like, you know what I mean? That's always where the go-to is. It couldn't possibly be that they put more in than they were supposed to, when that stuff has to be so cheap to buy by the kilo. So I think you're probably right.
The ones that taste like moonshine are the best.
Yeah, they're like Bacardi 151 or Everclear or something. I don't know.
It's like straight up moonshine.
Okay.
You take a hit of, I got 50 micrograms of Clen. You got a buzz. You're like, oh.
Burns down your throat. Yeah, like moonshine. That's fine. And please, if you're taking Clen and you go, don't go to your trainer and go, the Clen isn't working anymore because I'm not shaking anymore.
Oh, God.
Like,
wait,
explain
that.
Doesn't mean violent shaking doesn't mean that it's effective versus what happens is you become tolerant to it, usually after the first week. And I do like to tell people, even though you go, my dosing pattern, and everybody's is different, usually, but 50 to 100, and they think, oh, shit, I'm going to have twice as many sides. I'm going to cramp twice as much. I'm going to shake twice as violently, and that logically that makes sense. I get that, but that's not how it happens, because those it's like your receptors downgrade so fast that 100 isn't even working like the 50 was the week before. Maybe it is, but you get my point. There's such a downgrade that it's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably pretty close. You're trying to keep that effect that you had the first week by doubling the dose and hoping that you get the same effect, when in reality you're fighting for it.
Well, part of it too, though, is like, you know, the side effect is not necessarily the effect either, right?
Right.
You know, like, you don't necessarily have to. Like, that's the thing. I think that's where I thought you were going with that. Is like, people think they feel it, and then now it's working, and then they're not feeling it like they were when they first started, and they're like, oh, that means it's not working anymore. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's not true. Now, there is diminishing returns, but that's still, it's not based on how violently you shake.
So that leads me all to another question then, because the first thing you said about Clen was, well, it depends on whether it's liquid or tablet. So now you're telling us that there's a good chance liquid is probably going to be overdosed nowadays. You have a client comes to you, he's got liquid, another client has tablets. How do you handle those two things differently?
Well, the liquid gives you a much broader, like, you have more dosing options.
Oh, yeah.
That's why if you're stuck with tabs, that's usually where you get into your increments of 40 micrograms.
Right.
So to put that into a 3-week protocol, if somebody says, well, I can't, 50, what do I do? Do I like cut off a quarter? And then when I do that, I'm like, oh shit, okay, I didn't know you had tabs. Because 95% of people have liquid. If you have tabs, I usually then go in 5-day increments, and I go 40, 80, 120, and 160. And of course, the 160, if anybody's doing the math, has to go for 6 days instead of 5. I'm tired, but I still am good at math.
Nice. Scott, what do you think of
556? Wait, 5556, 21.
What do you think of Clen, Scott?
Well, after listening to Skip, I kind of got a little bit, turned into a coma here. Hold on, let me wake up.
I'm a spaz over here.
I don't know. I mean, it's everybody's different. Some people handle it better than others.
Yeah.
I don't really, a couple weeks, 2, sometimes 3, but I don't really put some. Unlike Skip, I don't have some anal retentive plan that everyone has to go by that has written down. So I just roll with it. In worst case, just take so much that you're stroke level, and just keep going. And if you make it, you'll be thin. You'll lose a lot of body fat. But no, I'm not big on it. Not big on a ton of it. It depends on the person. But with the liquid stuff, it's kind of like, oh, you got liquid? Well, take 10. Let's see what happens, because you don't know. And then usually you hear it tastes like crap. Well, that's because they make it in moonshine, most of them. But, I think it really depends on the person. And then when you're with liquid, especially when it's concentrated heavily, it's very difficult to measure it accurately, especially when you try to use the dropper.
Yeah.
You're like trying to suck it up in the dropper. And
no.
It's like, okay, I'm like right there. It doesn't work very good.
God, no.
But, no, I mean, a couple of weeks. Maybe I've done it all kinds of ways, 5 on, 2 off. It really kind of depends on the person, because some people can't tolerate it very good at all. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, I'm up for you think they're giving them like flakes of meth. They're like, I've been up for 3 days on 10 micrograms of Clen. So, it depends on the person too, especially if they're smaller, like he said. But, I've seen some people who are pretty big, they couldn't handle it either. And then you also got to figure out what else are they doing. Well, I'm getting all shaky, but okay, well, how many caffeine tabs did you have today? Like 50? Mm-hmm. Or they start doing other things with it. So there's a lot. Sometimes it's like an investigative project, figuring out what everyone's intaking, because it's generally not very transparent at times. So you might have somebody who drinks 17 cups of coffee in the morning, and, oh yeah, I have a cup of coffee, but it's like a 5-gallon jug. And then I thought
you meant drinking the Clen.
No, the coffee.
Oh, okay. Because I swear sometimes people dose it like this.
Oh yeah, I have a cup of coffee. Well, let me see what your cup looks like, and it looks like a freaking bucket for sand or something.
Yeah.
7-Eleven
things.
Yeah, I do think coffee, like people that are legit like hardcore coffee drinkers, can handle a lot more stims usually, even if there are various kinds. Maybe because they're used to being tweaky.
and these are strong compounds. I mean, they're dosed in micrograms. So you bring up a good point that I didn't think about till you mentioned the eyedropper. You know, a lot of these bottles come with their own eyedroppers, yet they're not marked with increments. The best way to do it is take an insulin pen, take a pair of scissors, and cut the hub of the needle. The hub is the hard plastic part right above the needle.
That's what you call it. I always wonder what you called that.
Yeah, and then just snip it right there, and then you've got a great, oral syringe to dose, oral medication with, and it'll be exact.
Yeah.
Because when you get into micrograms, especially if you're dealing with, T3, well, Clen too, but T3 and stuff like those micrograms. I mean, that's a very micro dose.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way to make it perfect though, because you've got a powder that's dissolved into a liquid, so it's not going to concentrate evenly.
You know what? I'll even ask you this, guy, because I've actually thought about this a lot, even when I take my own doses, hypothetically, if I were to dose things like that are gray market and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think there's some logic to this. If you put a liquid in your mouth, first, if you swallow a capsule or a tablet, I think we can all agree that the large part of that gets to your stomach and you're good. But when you do liquid like that, some of that, especially when you're dealing with small doses, it's going to end up still in your mouth and in your fucking throat. So I'm again being, overly anal about things. I always drink a good amount of water and flush my mouth and swallow it and make sure. So almost telling myself, you don't want any of this small dose left in your mouth or your throat. You want to make sure it actually gets to your damn stomach. Then the argument would be that I've heard other people say, well, I dose it a little bit higher. But then if you dose it higher, then you're guessing what makes it there and what doesn't.
Oh, I got an answer.
Well, if the molecules are small enough, it can enter through your gums and tongue and all there too. And we can't see Scott because he's way back there.
I got an answer.
He stopped.
I got an answer. Can I? Will you pick on me?
You're not moving.
Me?
No. Next question. No, go, man.
Okay, so here's my thought. Okay, so digestion starts in the mouth. If you don't, even if you could even, like I've heard of people say, oh, like I'll keep it under my tongue. That way, because if you can absorb something sublingually, sublingually, it'll, the vascular system under your tongue is very close to the surface. And that's why, like, if you take like the sublingual B12, it gets into your bloodstream without having to go through your stomach, without having to go through, acids and digestion and everything. So I wouldn't worry about it if you have that one drop doesn't make it to your stomach. You know what I mean? It's probably going to be well absorbed well before that.
But the sublingual gland is, again, I don't want to split hairs, but it's underneath your tongue. So, if you've got some on the back of your throat, the roof of your mouth, and in your throat, that's not your sublingual gland. I don't know that it wouldn't get there, but let's just say you put a sublingual dose underneath. All that fluid doesn't dissipate. All that compound doesn't go sublingually. It is being absorbed, but it's still there. It doesn't like dissolve or go away to nothing.
But I don't think.
How much do you absorb?
But do you? I really don't have an answer. But I feel like digestion is going to happen all through that whole process of something like a drug that's going to break down and absorb to an extent before it even gets through. Like, it doesn't need to be in your stomach in order to be processed. That would be my thought, at least.
Well, here's what I'm thinking of that. I think we're guessing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm just saying, I don't know how much of that because I understand it's logical sublingually, but does it? I don't know. I don't know if there's a portion of that's missing. So I kind of feel like when I chase it with a lot of water, that I am somehow getting more that would be, on my punching bag or whatever the fuck that thing is called back there, medulla oblongata.
It's the bodybuilder in you coming. It's like the OCD bodybuilder in you coming out, isn't it?
And I don't want anybody listening to this going, medulla oblongata, it's in your fucking brain, dude. I know that. I was trying to be funny. It's a punching bag. That's the medical term for it.
Punching bag. I got a question for Scott here. Honest question. Why does no one talk about sources? I just want to know where I can safely get stuff without worrying about some guy in Europe sneezing in my test.
That's an easy one. Go for it, Scott, because I got one right behind.
You cut out on me a little bit there. Go back. Repeat that again.
Basically, the guy has no source, and he
Yep.
wants to know why people with sources don't basically talk about sources. We do.
'Cause it's
Amongst
illegal?
people who have sources.
It's
People-
illegal.
That too. But people with sources, it's like a club and you're not in it. So we don't talk to you. We talk to each other. Like Scott and Scott probably have a source. I will talk to them.
I don't know what you guys
have
are
a source.
talking about.
I have a doctor and I have prescriptions.
Yeah, everything
That's
I
my
have
source.
is prescripted. The Phena pellets they're scripted.
For my cat.
Everything. Yeah, yeah. That's why I have a giant cat. It was just a stray. It really wasn't a Savannah cat until I fed it Phena pellets.
You make those. You
Right.
make Savannah cats. That's how
Make
you,
them here.
yeah,
That's how.
with Tren. Yeah. Scott, what's your thought?
Why don't people talk about it?
Yeah.
I said because it's illegal.
That's a good answer right there. Also, I'd have to warn him too that I think that when at least on like the source boards back in the day when someone would fish like that, the next thing that would happen is that person's going to get like 100 direct messages,
Ban.
and that's like the quickest way to get taken. You know what I mean? So that could be an issue. But
Well,
Yeah, he would have like Mr. Swell's Super Pharmaceuticals sending him spam mail.
yeah.
Get
I'm not a
swole.
cop. Yeah, I'm not DEA. Okay, I believe you. Now, the other part is, too, you have a good source. The less people that know about it, the better. Because the more people who use it, the more people can't keep their fucking mouth shut, and they're stupid, and they get busted, and then you lose your source because you have some dumbass that you gave your source up to. So, honestly, and I'm not trying to pick on the guy who, is asking the question. I understand why he's asking it. But once you get a good source, you kind of should probably protect it.
yeah, that's a good point. I think, yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say something else about that, but it totally left me. So I'll just get back
Next
to
topic.
some bodybuilding talk here. More drug talk. I have a question about injectable orals. Are the injectable versions any less harsh on the liver, or if it depends on the compound? How about injectable methyltren and injectable check drops? I didn't even know they made injectable check drops. Thanks again, guys. Love the show. That's from Tacktown Beast. They make injectable check drops?
I'm not injecting anything that is even remotely close to check drops myself personally.
God, no.
I had a hard time
You're a
injecting
check drop, no
anadrol.
matter what's it in. Yeah.
What's that,
Well,
Scott?
orals have to pass twice through the liver, so that's why they're more toxic.
Yep.
Okay. So with the injectable, you're going directly into the bloodstream, so you're going to miss the first pass?
Yeah. So
Okay.
you only got the one pass.
Okay.
Well,
I mean-
unless you inject directly into your liver, then
Unless you mainline it. Mainline your check drops and call me and tell me about that, how that works out for you.
yeah.
Yeah. That
Check-
gives me a headache thinking about it.
Yeah, I know, right? Check drop. I'm just thinking, I haven't even heard that, and I don't even know how long. Check drops are about as like that would make halitosin like Pez or something. Check drops would just rot your liver. Like if you put, fuck it, I'll quit.
Methyltren.
I'm just gonna go on.
Methyltren, though,
Methyltren.
that's another rough one, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
Nothing's
yeah,
as brutal as check drops. Nothing.
anytime you methylate anything, it really isn't. It's
Well,
not.
no, actually, what is it? Methyltrenolone is pretty brutal too.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough one. I've never used it, never used any of those things, but especially check drops, I don't feel like, is there a purpose in bodybuilding for check drops?
Yeah, to rip your fucking weight training partner in half and throw shit everywhere,
Yeah.
and then have your blood pressure go to 300 over 150, and it was around back in the powerlifting days. It probably still is. I don't know, but it's like instant stroke level blood pressure. I can tell you that.
No kidding.
Yeah, but it'll make you want to just like murder the freaking bench, and you'll whack off like 10 times in 5 minutes, and yeah, it's pretty strong.
You're basically bench pressing with one hand and jerking off with the other one. It's
Yeah.
just not. It's not pretty.
No lubrication either.
Sounds
Chalk
like
in your hand.
sounds
actually.
productive.
They're both. You
Barbed
should have
wire.
chalk on your hands. Yeah. Barbed wire.
It's pretty. It's you're like, yeah, fucking yeah. No, it's pretty rough, dude. It's pretty. It's it's got some go to it. Yeah, I mean the real ones did. I don't know. These days, who knows what you're getting? You're probably getting Kool-Aid or some shit. I don't know.
Skip, when you used the injectable version of Anadrol, did you find that it affected your appetite any less than the oral, or was it pretty much the same thing?
I was so focused on how bad the injections were getting that I don't remember an impact on the that taste I did not like.
Oh, that, yeah.
2 minutes after you inject it, and it didn't start off like the first week. It was once blood levels got up or something. And I mean, I just knew within 2 minutes. And the best way to explain it is this: you know how you get that rotten taste from Clen?
Yeah.
It was magnified. It was like rotten Clen or something. It was so metallic that it's so bad that you think to yourself, this just is not good for me. This is not good. And then you start looking. I started looking. I'm like, 4 more days. Then the next day, 3 more days. Just put up with it for 3 more days. It's not good, man. It's just, there's something in there that's just not good. Regular Anadrol knocks my appetite down, but it doesn't. I have to actually think about it and ask myself, okay, oh yeah, I guess when I think about it. It's not like, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm not hungry. Now I've had clients who will start it, or even D-ball, and one of them's listening. He knows what I'm talking. Appetite goes to shit and is gone for like 2 or 3 couple weeks after they stop taking
That's me too.
It's brutal on some people. And then some people will take EQ and they want to eat, their own ass and everybody else's ass that walks by them. It's and EQ doesn't do that to me. I'm just not. I don't get the appetite issue from EQ. Some people do, some people don't. That's the individual component.
All right, fair enough. Eduardo had a question he posted over on Facebook. How long after Clen and T3 cycle does it usually take for blood pressure to get back to normal?
Yeah, it depends on the person, but pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a
pretty long half-life. Wait, Clen?
Clen? It's not that long.
36 hours. I mean, by the book. I mean, I get it. But I mean, if you had to throw out a time, what would you say? I'd say a week. I mean, that's off the top of my head.
2 days for most people.
No shit.
I mean, well, it depends on how you've been taking it too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And the dosage and how big you are, and there are factors there, I guess.
Nothing ruins my appetite or my blood pressure. Let me think. Appetite. I'm on the wrong thing. We're on appetite still. I was eating a s'more earlier. My wife made these s'mores. These like ice cream s'mores. So I've been thinking about them. So I'm on food.
Okay, sorry. Coming back to my week then, as far as half-life and everything?
No, you're still wrong. But anyway,
I thought we were going to agree there for a second.
I can see it depends on the person. I mean, like, it drives my blood pressure up fast, quick.
Yeah, but you're
define going back to normal, too.
You like that, didn't you, Scott? I saw you laugh. You're breaking up, and I still saw you fucking go.
I'm breaking up?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
You're breaking up with him?
No, Scott just mad because I just pointed out another flaw. He just wants me to play along. He's going to blow up my phone now. Just play along and shut up. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I didn't know because I can't. You guys are coming in fine for me.
You're not breaking up sound-wise. I can see that your video is scattered, but I didn't say anything because sometimes it happens like that, and then when it goes on the feed, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I completely lost my track, so keep going.
That was the whole point.
All right. Yeah, because you gotta figure. Like you said, if half-life is like, 24, 36 hours, then, I mean, it's at least going to start coming down within a day or two.
What's that in your mouth? What do you put in his mouth?
What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, it's roughly, I mean, 36 hours. And you know what? These are numbers that I don't even know how the fuck they figure them out. Because I'll tell you right now, just on a little side note, do not ever think that, because it's all over the internet, that Clenbuterol will not, it'll be detected for up to 21 days. Trust me. I had an NFL client, and god damn it goes longer than that.
Really?
And I'll leave it, it goes longer than 21 days.
How long are you aware of it ever having gone? Let me ask you that question.
I can tell you, in this case, it was 27 days and had not cleared on someone who may or may not have been 350 pounds, and the dosing was a dose that someone who would take it 200 pounds.
So it was a lighter dose.
Too much. Yeah,
it was a lighter dose on a really big dude.
Right. Now you might say, well, the NFL has very stringent. They do. They will detect anything, and as soon as there's a trace of something, yeah, you're done. So my point is just that if for those, I always kind of laugh, scoff is a better word, at people when they say, well, you have a drug test coming up, this is what, and everybody wants to throw out that same, those same numbers that are on every site, and I swear, just like steroid profiles.
Yeah.
They're written by one person one time and then copied 400,000 times from there. But I'm just telling you, those detection times, if you count on those detection, and I didn't. I mean, it was a situation I'm not going to get into explaining, but it was. It's not 21 days. Let's just say it's just not 21 days. So when we're talking about half-lives and stuff like that, those may be more accurate. But the point is, it's a relatively long half-life. So it does get into the size of the person, how big the dosing was, how long the dosing was, and how fast it'll clear. I think, it's just my opinion, but I would say in a week, I would be surprised if you had any dramatic elevation left over for blood pressure. I think it would clear from a blood pressure standpoint pretty quickly.
Yeah. Remember this too, though, that Clen's half-life is based off of a split double dosing in one day, not a singular dosing.
I agree, but I think that's part of the reason I went out to more like a week. You said a couple days. Well, there's a happy medium between what you said probably and what I said.
Well, it has a 4-hour plasma half-life, though.
Listen,
but you don't know what that means, so let's keep going. Go to the next one before he gets confused.
You guys want me to go on?
What's in your lips, Skip? What is that?
Go on, Scott.
All right.
Shadow Scott. Scott has a bad screen. Go on.
Hi, gentlemen. Looking for advice for traveling internationally during prep. I'll have a week in Asia 2 weeks from now. And for the most part, I'll be able to freeze a ton of food and pack it in a separate suitcase. But was wondering if you had any other tips on traveling abroad while optimizing prep. I'll be 13 weeks out and don't foresee any issues sticking to the plan, but any expert hacks are much appreciated.
Okay, Scott. You go. Pick Scott.
Scott!
All right, here's the key. Let me give you the key because I was once the world traveler. FedEx. Plan your stays. Plan where you're going to be. Don't stay at the fucking Motel 8 or the Super 8 or whatever the hell it is, or Motel 6. Go to a decent hotel that accepts back, say a Hilton or whatever. Have your shit pre-packed. Pay the money. Put it in the little cold box things they have, and have the shit shipped in. You can get it. So if you know you're going to be there for a week, you can have box one come in on the first day to meet you with your food, whatever, and then about halfway, the next 3 or 4 days later, have another one show up. If you need stuff that bad, that's the easiest way, because A, you're going to pay out the ass to put it on the plane because they charge you $1 million for the shit, how much it weighs. And if you look at the money side of it, generally, you can send it FedEx for around the same price or less, and you'll get what you need. But maybe you can't stay at the no-tel motel. You stay at a decent place that has good concierge service or reception. They're responsible, a major chain, and just use FedEx. And actually, a lot of the Marriott's and stuff have a FedEx deal where they have a stationing, like a FedEx office there, or the UPS. I've seen them too. And so you get a good rate. You're not paying these insane prices like you would sometimes too to send stuff. But I think if you look at it, if you really want to do it that way, that's the way to do it. Don't try to haul that crap with you. It'll get, you'll get the freaking. All you need is the TSA going through your bag and sticking boogers in your food and stuff, and all that. So, yeah, just mail it.
So you said internationally, though, right, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that's what you, I think first it depends on where you're going. He said he was going where?
He's going to Asia. He's, I believe, going to Japan and Korea.
Okay, see, I would say in places like that, especially if you're in big, urban areas, they're pretty modernized. I mean, I'm not saying they have Whole Foods, but they probably have something, and a little bit of Google research, probably 15 minutes. You'd be able to find out if they have, because these days, and I'm just speaking about here in the United States, but I mean, I got to the point where there really wasn't a place I could go that I couldn't get prepared foods. I mean, Whole Foods, Fresh Market, all those prepared chicken breasts. You got quinoa. You got all the. You pretty much can cover your bases. You may
Yeah,
not
but
have a
he's
huge
13 weeks
variety.
out. He's probably not going to go prepare food.
Well, yeah, I understand, but I mean, I would, if it were me, I guess I'll say it this way. If it were me, because you could be anal about it and you could ship your stuff, but I would, isn't there something internationally where shipping food sometimes, I mean, you can't take even vegetables out inside of the country or outside of, depending on the country.
No, it's shit. When you're pre-packed, you can send stuff to like first world countries. I mean, if you're shipping from, the northern part of Mali to the U.S., yeah, that's probably going to be an issue. But I mean, when you're going like to Korea and stuff, and especially if there's U.S. military installations in that country, it actually will be cheaper and it's pretty efficient.
Because I didn't even think you could cross the border of Mexico with vegetable. Let's put it this way:
no,
coming back
you
from
can't.
Jamaica, you can't.
But that's
We're
different.
talking about by ground.
Yeah, we're talking, but we're also you're talking about you're not allowed to bring like plant life, just like you aren't allowed to bring animals across the
These are
border.
cooked foods too.
Well, a vegetable's a fucking plant, isn't it? I mean, I'm not trying to be.
Yeah, but
dick,
like
but
just
I mean,
it's the same thing. Like you couldn't bring a potted flower either. The vegetables fall in that category versus a Tupperware with chicken and rice in it.
oh, okay.
It's cooked
All right.
food, Skips. Cooked.
Well, I'll tell you what. Do this. No matter where you're going, you better find out what make sure what you can take and what you can, and what you can ship and what you can. I guess because it just seems like there may be some shit where your food, you get over there and you can't get your food there, or it gets caught at customs and they're returning your food.
Yeah.
That you bust it, you're relying on it. I don't know. I'd have a backup plan, but a lot of this depends. I know the answer is kind of scattered from all of us, so I apologize to the guy who asked it. But it really, the big issue is where you're going and what you can get in and what's available there. It would be a lot easier if you go somewhere and you did a little bit of research and you were able to get. I mean, you can easily prep. I prepped on chicken breasts from Whole Foods back in 2012. I paid an arm and a leg for that shit.
And you just got it like
Nice
cooked?
to them. Yeah, I'd pick it up every week. I mean, it was ridiculous amount of money though. Oh my God. Because I was paying like $12 or $13 a pound for that cooked chicken. It was damn good though.
Wow.
Holy shit, man.
Don't listen to Skip. That's all I have to say. On to the next question.
Yeah, that's too bad that you broke up the entire time you were talking. Go on, Scott.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna look through. We might not have any more questions here. We got maybe one, maybe two more. If anybody has any questions, feel free to post them up here. Otherwise, if you go over to the forum.advicesradio.com, that's a place to ask them. In the bodybuilding section, we have a thread stickied at the top. This is in the drug, sweat, and gear thread. Here's one we didn't answer yet from Yogi. Are digestive issues to be expected when bulking? I eat around 4,300 calories daily, and when my calories get any higher, I have some digestive issues. I don't think it's because my food choices, as when I'm dieting, I eat the same foods, just with lower carbs and fats. So all the same meats, vegetables, etc., and my digestion is much better. Any tips or strategies are much appreciated. Thanks, guys.
I think we talked about doo-doo last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Doo-doo. I mean, I find when people have high caloric intakes, no matter what they're coming from, and they sort of have digestive issues, that probably means that could mean their caloric intake is just too much. Or it could be a certain kind of food, but it's like, think about it this way: when you're not dieting, whatever, you just go to like eat a bunch of food, just start stuffing your face. What do you get? Your stomach gets upset. You start having digestive issues because you're just consuming so much food. Your body doesn't process or need those calories, so it's trying to move it out. Kind of think about it that way. Just because it's clean food doesn't mean if you jam yourself full of it, it's going to just go right into the body and work, and you're going to get all. It's going to be useful. Your body has to dispose of waste.
Yeah, I think at the same time too, though, let's just say someone has a fast metabolism and they're or a faster metabolism, and they want to make sure that they're gaining. I mean, that's why bodybuilders tend to err on the side of more is better. I'd rather, if I had a quicker metabolism and I was trying to gain weight, I would rather take more shits and deal with, a little bit of bloat and knowing that I was getting more nutrients than my body could absorb, then wondering if I was getting enough.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it depends on metabolism and everything else. I mean, are you getting fatter? There's a bigger issue than digestion, really, because there's a good part of bulking. I mean, bulking, everybody train. I said this a million times. I really think the large majority of people do train hard enough to grow. They just can't eat enough, and especially when you have a fast metabolism. So, it depends on your situation, but I mean, the shitty part of bulking is a lot of times making sure that you're getting enough food, really, that a lot of times I think that's where the majority of people come up short. So, I mean, I'd rather get a little fatter. I think most people would if they knew they were growing. I'd rather have more, okay, I got to deal with being gassy. Does gas mean that you're processing everything efficiently? No, it really isn't. But do you want to potentially come up short on nutrients and not grow? I don't think any of us do. So it's a balancing act. But I'd say if it were me and I had a fast metabolism, I'd err on the side of taking in more food and deal with it.
Gas is fun sometimes.
Gas can be a lot of fun, right up until it was part of the reason that I gave up on the whole bulk thing, years ago. And I finally told my wife one day, I'm like, I'm sick of going out on the weekends and I have to go somewhere where I know I'm going to have to take 2 shits. I want to be sitting outside because I'm gassy. I don't want to bend over to have to tie my fucking shoelace because it's just not very comfortable. But getting big and forcing your body to do something that is pretty unnatural, it really is. You gotta do shit that the body isn't used to. You gotta pretty much force the body to adapt and to grow bigger because it really doesn't want to. Well, for most of us, it doesn't want to. Most of us ungifted and people who aren't predisposed to just getting big no matter what. I don't think Phil Heath has ever forced too much food in his entire life. But, I guess we're not all Phil Heath either.
Right.
Yeah. When we borrow things from our friends, we tend to we give them back. There's that.
I
Like
thought
Scott-
Grumpy, Skip. You're getting
like-
grumpy.
Like, Scott, if you gave me something, Scott, I wouldn't go pawn it or something and then go I don't know where the fuck it is, dude. I don't know. For like 5 years or something.
we should make a
Can I borrow your
podcast about that. I got a thought here. I think sometimes I found, like for me, liquid egg whites, drinking them, I could handle a cup of liquid egg whites no problem. But if I drink 2 cups of liquid egg whites, I'll get diarrhea. There's just no question about it. And I've seen it happen too where like I've also gotten stomach pain from it, and that stomach pain gets worse and worse. And then after it gets bad, I can't. Or peanut butter. I'll be honest, I've overdone it on peanut butter before, where I started eating it with every meal. And then before you know it, it's like I developed a sensitivity to it. I couldn't handle peanut butter. Like I had to clear it out. Like I cut it way back, and then I'd just have like 1 scoop of peanut butter the next day, and just 1 scoop would fuck me up. I feel like if you're eating a lot more something that you may develop you could develop an allergy to, pushing it could potentially lead to a problem. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe eating whatever. Sweet potato. I've seen it where like, okay, have sweet potato 2 times a day instead of rice. That's fine. But now let's go to sweet potato 6 times a day. Now you're probably going to get gas. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of truth to that, and that's why variety is so important. But as a rule, look at all your clients.
Yeah.
And I've said this a million times over. I've written articles about it. There's roughly seven things that the average bodybuilder eats every day.
Yeah.
And why? Because it's routine. And it fits our highly structured brains to eat the same. Because we know this. We have this 1 meal or these 5 meals or whatever, and we know they're good. We know the macros, and damn it, we're just going to eat them up because it's easy to prep, and we know it's right, so we do it. So the variety is important, and I think that you absolutely can build up or get allergies from eating foods too frequently. And what do? I mean, think about the protein sources bodybuilders. It's fucking chicken, fish, and some beef. I mean, there's not a big variety there.
Yeah.
So, peanut butter and things like that. I mean, God damn, I can't imagine having an aversion to peanut butter. But every now and then I'll get sick of it. I don't know if that's an allergy, but you change, nut butters. God, is that a shitty label? Why? Where did that ever come from?
Nut butter.
Nut butter. It's just,
Nut butter.
I don't even like to say it.
Nut butter.
Yeah, that's just what I noticed though. And yeah, I've seen it in other people. So, and then I take, whatever, the next week off of eating peanut butter, and I can go back and I can eat a little bit of it, or I take some time off of the egg whites, and then I can go back and eat a little bit of it. But it's a matter of, like you said, I think, you know what I've been into lately? This is my new favorite thing the last year or so. I started using breakfast meats. Like I'll get turkey sausage. I have Canadian bacon and all this stuff that's like really low fat, but you get an extra 10 grams of protein, or 12 or 15 even. I have these turkey sausages now, or chicken sausages. They're 15 grams of protein for one of them. It's like a big link. And I'll cook that first and then chop it all up, throw that in my eggs. And now it's like either more protein than I'm getting than I was before, or I could reduce the eggs. You know, it's pretty good. It's good.
You know what, though?
You're thinking out of the box there, dude.
But to me, I am, because like there was a time that I couldn't do that. You know, I'd just be like, oh, I need to get 50 grams of protein. How many egg whites is that? You know, and that's it.
I think it's sometimes, though, it's a matter of preference. I mean, as an example, I've never eaten Canadian meat. I think you might prefer it, but it's just a preference for different people. And I think that, you know, we all have those preferences. Don't you think, Scott?
I've been putting meat in my eggs for like 20 years, but
well, I didn't claim to invent it.
I'll eat, but I don't geographically locate my sausage and bacon. I mean, whatever.
Huh? Yeah, I'm just saying though, you know,
He's a Canadian.
Trying to, you know, just get different proteins, and I guess that's where I'm getting at. Instead of just eating more eggs, again, like, you know, I'm basically backing up what you're saying, Skip, thinking outside of the box.
Right, inside the box, outside the box. I mean, you know. Next question.
If you had one of those in traveling neck rings on, you'd be out right now. Your head and you'd be asleep on us.
Scott's going, I can't edit this. I'd have to throw the whole fucking thing away. There's no way.
I'm going to throw it out anyway. I just didn't.
If you just had like a neck brace on, like one of those like fake people that fakes the accident, you'd be like, your head would just tilt over and you just go to sleep on us.
Skip, you're so hard on yourself, Skip. And you're
he's
tired.
lower in his chair too. You notice how he's kind of lower than normal?
He's tired. That's why. Are you going to sleep tonight?
I am going to sleep tonight. I'm going to try to stay up until about midnight. I feel like if I can make it, if I can sleep until 10 tomorrow, I'll be back on a decent schedule, and I'll transition to Chicago fine, and I'll be good in Milwaukee, and then I'll come back and stay up all night again and work.
So we're recording this Sunday. Everybody's going to hear it in several days from now. Actually, they'll hear it the day you're flying out. You're going to live a regular 9 to 5 day kind of lifestyle. Get up in the morning and go to bed at night for the next several days is what you're telling us before you leave?
Yeah, for the next few days. I don't have much of a choice. Yeah. So then when I'm gone, I'll be on that. You know, my client hit me up today, texted me. He's like, hey, we're going to make, you know, what do you call it? A reservation. I almost said appointment. Reservation for 10:30, you know, for breakfast Sunday morning. And my initial reaction was 10:30. Bitch, I'm not up to. Oh, that's right. I will be up because I'll be on regular hours. Yeah. So yeah, it's odd. But when I get back, I'm used to it. It's normal for me to be up all night. So when I get back, I'll go right back to staying up and working at night. I just work better at night. Yeah. Just is what it's done it for years. 20 years. I mean, you know.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. Let's let Skip get some sleep. Scott, what do you got going on for the rest of the night?
I'm gonna be texting Skip like till midnight, going, "Hey, dude, are you awake?" He'd be like, "I'm grumpy as fuck. Leave me alone." Or actually, you know what? We'll probably find him in the same chair. He'd probably just fold right there when he come off screen. He'd be like, he'll have dip spit all down his chin onto his sweatshirt.
Like after we hang up, he's just gonna go out.
Yeah. What a trooper. Way to Skip.
All right. Well, send us pictures from Junior Nationals.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Send us pictures of. I want to see your food. You never post pictures of your food. Well, I know. All the time. Sorry.
Never. Never.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, for another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Gear with Skip Hill and S2H, I'm Scott McNally. Check out TrueNutrition.com. You could use our code ADVICES. And, of course, go to TeamSkip.com. Reach out to Skip Hill. We'll see you guys. Thanks.
Out.